Hey everybody, how are you doing today? It's Saturday morning. It's a bit less summery than it was. And yeah, I know summery isn't typically a word used to describe the weather. Usually it's a word used to describe like a synopsis of a thing. Summary. Words are weird. Don't you think? I do. I'm reading a cool book. I don't know if I've shown you this book. Have I shown you this book? It's absolutely amazing. My friend critiqued me and he said I needed to show more excitement when if I share a book or something. Oh my gosh! And I appreciate the critique too, because I appreciate when anybody watches, and if you're watching now, thank you. So, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this book I'm reading. It's great. It's by Dean Radin. And it's called Real Magic. Okay. Um, it reminded me of a book I read. It's called shit. I can't remember. It was something paranormal phenomena behind the Iron Curtain. Okay, and it was about the studies of psi phenomena in the USSR during the Cold War. The scientific studies they did on things like remote viewing and just all the different testing kind of like the I think and this book really makes the point too that we all have latent abilities or even active abilities that we just don't notice. Like, for example, the study that I was just reading about was about the idea that you can actually feel it when somebody's looking at you. And it's not, people don't always get it dead on, but compared to random chance, people like odds that are so astronomically high. It's been essentially proven that people do feel it when you're looking at them, or when you're being looked at, you feel it, which I find very interesting, and that's just the beginning. They've managed to prove that there is clairvoyance and precognition, where people will have a feeling of something coming in the future or be able to see it. And the idea behind that is that time is less linear and neat and tidy as you might think. Time is a bit slippery conceptually. Okay, it's like the idea behind this manifestation, behind imagining something in your mind, which then is pulled into physical reality. It's like the law of attraction. The secret really goes into that. Well, the idea is that by imagining it, you kind of solidify it in the future. Like the future already exists, and you're pulling it to you. It's an interesting concept because it's another one that they've managed to really show happens, but they've also managed to show something I thought was really interesting that I read this week, and that is that when people predict the future or make a prophecy, they've shown that they really are predicting the highest probability, and that it's not set in stone, meaning that we still have free will, which has been an important question to me throughout life. So, there's been a lot more science done on what you might call magic than I realized. There's been a lot all over the world. They have these devices called random number generators. They call them RNGs for short, and they're based on quantum mechanics, and they are truly random. And they place them sprinkled throughout the world. But the weird thing is how they've synchronized up during major world events when consciousness really links together. Like some examples are like during 9/11, those RNGs, those random number generators, they synchronized people's collective consciousness, what was actually affecting the fabric of space and time. It's really groundbreaking, interesting stuff. But people don't want to take it as serious as they should, because in the past these things have been called magic, and they're pesky things too. These experiments, these studies, they're troublesome to mainstream scientists because they appear to violate the concrete laws of physics that we've established, since Isaac Newton. But nothing can truly violate the laws of physics because, they're there. But what we're trying to do is understand them. Perhaps the evidence is showing those laws are even affected by the collective consciousness of humanity. And these are big statements. They almost sound arrogant. They sound like they could be flights of fancies or delusions of grandeur. But that's what makes it tough. But in reality, these are just conclusions made by following the evidence. So though they, when it comes to traditional science, they are counterintuitive. Counterintuitive points. In reality, good science is to accept them because it's what the evidence points to. And in science, a true scientist accepts what the evidence is pointing to, but is also always in search of new and more data. Because what always is needing to become stronger and better and more evolved isn't the concept maybe itself, unless it gets slippery in these studies, unless of course it's affected by our consciousness, right? But the point is, it's our understanding of a thing that needs to be correct in science, in true science, and I love science, I love the creed of science, and scientists all shout it out, Science is unbiased and follows it. These are, unfortunately, it's just not true. Science is very biased because science is still very human, and to be human is to be very biased. But to grow and to evolve is to open your mind up to new concepts and to search for them and to look for the unknown, look for what is bewildering and amazing. If you're bored with life and you think, oh, it's just mundane and normal and boring, and well, that's just not true. Life is amazing and always surprising us, and always a privilege and a joy just to exist, and we should be hoping and looking for our opinions and beliefs to grow and change and evolve every day, because that's what it is to be alive. And even our great sciences and technologies of today were things that were called magic in the past. But magic's a really dirty word in science. It's like one you don't want to say. Well, you don't have to. These are just things that are tested and happen. So instead of getting hung up on a word, instead get excited and rejoice and enjoy that we are perhaps much more capable of much greater things than we've even imagined yet, than we have thought. We're much more capable than we've thought. And that's something, why get mad at that? Why be skeptical of that? Whether you believe that or you don't, you're still believing something. You're choosing to believe that, or you're choosing to believe that we're not capable of more, and that we are small and meaningless. Well, that's just as much a belief and just as vulnerable to being false. But what it also is much less enjoyable and full of joy and ringing with truth. But forget all that other stuff. Just it is a happy experience, full of joy, to understand and believe. Just to choose to believe that we are capable of so much more. So why not choose that? If it's a better experience. And you know what? It just also, in my heart, I truly believe that. I believe we're capable of so much. And I believe that life is so special and good. And that is what I will base my life and existence on. Not all this negativity, pessimism, and nihilism, and cynicism that's running rampant. And I just want to put this out there so that I can do just my little bit, whatever I can to maybe put something positive out there. So if you've watched, thank you, and I hope you have a great Saturday. Hit subscribe, please.